I swear to God, there's always somebody out there, whether it's media, coach, whoever, that's got to try to bring Jalen Hurts down. Always got to bring this man down every single offseason, and it will never stop. We need to talk about this. There was a lot of news about Kenny Pickett is having a better OTAs than Jalen Hurts, and we're talking about OTAs. This news came out, I think, the morning of like the second day of OTAs when media availability was there, okay? This needs to be discussed, but I want to talk about Kenny Pickett as well and what I think Howie Roseman is going to do at Kenny Pickett and why he's here in the first place. So I think that's going to be interesting, the future of that. And I want to go to the right guard position. A lot of inside news becoming of Tyler Steen and how prepared, looks like embracing Stoutland University and is looking really good out there. And it's just the OTAs, so it's very early in the process. But right guard spot, why it's so special, and there's so much depth. Man, the offensive line is going to be good for years with what we have, and want to talk about all that. So let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So more Eagles news today regarding Jalen Hurts, Kenny Pickett. There was some stupid news that came out, the second day of OTAs in the morning. I mean, second day of OTAs, like, how much there's always somebody out there that's going to try to drag Jalen Hurts down to the mud. And, because what happened last year and, another quarterback's going to come in and show some things and, be better this early in the process is absolutely ridiculous. So there was some reports that came out. Kenny Pickett is apparently looking better than Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. Oh, okay. With OTAs, it's friggin' OTAs. No full pads, no, they're not even hitting each other. And OTAs is a complete joke right now. Okay, to even put out a statement like this. Now, Tony Rasiopi, which I guess is Kenny Pickett's offseason quarterback coach that trains him and other quarterbacks, I guess. So there's some things said behind the scenes. I think it was on NFL Now or something like that. So it said the backup quarterback looked sharper than Jalen Hurts, to be honest, Kras wrote. So it says Hurts was the money on the first two 7-on-7 throws, hitting A.J. Brown on a quick instant slant and following up with a nice sideline throw about 15 yards downfield. Pickett, though, was consistently on target. The Eagles can win games with him if something happens to Hurts. Okay. Now, the statistics came out of the second day of OTAs when media was there. It was like he was 7 for 7. Most of them were to A.J. Brown, and that was it. There's no full pass. There's no hitting. There's no pass rush. There's no nothing. So you only take so much with a grain of salt when it comes to 7-on-7s when they're really not being physical. They're not trying to hurt each other at this point, or not hurting each other on purpose, but you're not playing real football at this point. Okay, and then say that Pickett, though, was consistent. So you have statistics for Jalen Hurts, but for Kenny Pickett, where are the statistics? I didn't see any statistics for Kenny Pickett the second day of OTAs. Okay, the Kenny Pickett signing was always interesting to me because I didn't really care about it. A lot of people hated it. I wasn't necessarily loving it, but I didn't hate it either because, is Tanner McKee going to be enough? You don't want to pay quarterbacks, a lot of backup quarterbacks, too much money. I get it. They paid Mariota like $5 million last year and he did absolutely nothing. And he was really bad, beyond bad. But obviously this play calling was bad too. But you swapped what? You trade for Kenny Pickett. You swapped the 3rd-round pick for the 4th-round pick, so you dropped, 15 spots in the draft, which kind of sucked. I thought they actually traded a 3rd-round pick straight up for Kenny Pickett. That would have pissed me off. But they swapped picks, and I really wanted that 3rd-round pick, but obviously they got it back. We can't be worried about losing picks because Howie always has a plan to get picks back. You trade back, you had 2 second-rounders, so it made sense for it made sense. In a lot of ways. So they end up getting the pick and whatever. So it doesn't really matter too much. But in Howie Roseman's eyes of a trade like this is going to be interesting because Kenny Pickett, I don't think, is the future backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Kenny Pickett is just he's a lab rat. He's a lab mouse. Like all they're trying to do right now is make him look as good as possible, put up his value as much as possible in this offseason program, preseason games, you name it. Give our guys some good looks, okay? Give our guys some good looks, and then flip him over for some draft capital. I mean, that's really all it is. I think this backup quarterback situation in Philadelphia, they say they value it so much, which I know they do, but I think at the end of the day, they want to try to produce as many guys as possible. So at least if you have a backup quarterback that has starting experience, that have played games, and yes, like Kenny Pickett has a lot of starting experience. Adding on to that, obviously with Newsome, the quarterback coach, I think is going to do a really good, this is Kellen Moore's right-hand man, and, he actually works the passing game. Newsome works the passing game as well. So he was with Kellen Moore in Dallas and with the Chargers and now with the Philadelphia Eagles now. So I think there's some, with an X's and O's standpoint, I think Kenny Pickett will be more productive. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to be at the top of his game this year, back to where he should be with good play calling behind it and competent coaches that know how to call plays in situations, know how to open guys up, whether it's X, Y, and Z, running backs, tight ends, you name it. No position is wasted in a Kellen Moore type offense. And I think that's what's really going to be nice. So at the end of the day, Kenny Pickett is hopefully going to get more value. Okay. God forbid a quarterback goes down in the league, then they make a trade, they trade him, and that's it. They get some draft picks for him. And I think that's the smartest thing they could do. I don't know if, could Kenny Pickett come in for a couple games? Do I trust him on that fact of him coming in for a couple games for Jalen Hurts? I don't know. Obviously, Kenny Pickett would have all the weapons he desires and wants, probably the best offense he's been around. But it comes down to it just comes down to how much he's going to produce, and we'll see what happens. Like, I got to see camp. I got to see these guys move around. It's really hard to read reports. Like, I need to see Kenny Pickett throwing the ball and how many incompletions, how many bad passes, how many picks did he throw. You know what I mean? So it's really hard from afar without training camp. And this is why it's ridiculous. This whole entire Kenny Pickett played better than Hurts and OTAs is the dumbest statement ever, because nobody really should be better than everybody, because these guys aren't in full pads. They're not hurting each other. They're not, they're not being that physical with each other. So it makes sense in a lot of areas. But that's all I really got to say about this. This is nothing crazy. But I'm actually pretty excited for Kenny Pickett. And obviously Tanner McKee as well was a pretty big standout in preseason last year. Not really mobile at all. Kenny Pickett's not really the most mobile guy. He can run a little bit, but he's nothing. Doesn't have Jalen Hurts' speed, and I think Tanner McKee is more of a 2-3 step back and throw. I mean, that's all he really is at this point. So that's where I'm at with the situation. I'm excited for all these quarterbacks, excited for the coordinator, and we'll see what Kenny Pickett's got, man. Because if he looks pretty good, then great. We have a backup quarterback, and God forbid someone goes down. Howie Roseman can get a draft pick for next year. We have 9 picks in the draft already next year. Made a couple trades during the draft this past year, and could add more to it with see what they do with Kenny Pickett. So just wanted to talk about that real quick. Now, the right guard situation. Now, there was a lot of news coming out of OTAs, insiders saying that Tyler Steen has really embraced being in Stoutland University, embraced what Stoutland University is putting everything on the table, as in, how these guys practice, and, all these guys work their tails off in the off seasons. But it looks like Tyler Steen has gotten a lot better. It looks like his movement's a lot better. Apparently, he looks better right now as an OTA standpoint of, he's in football shape and looks more prepared. And it's going to be a really big competition this year. We look at cornerbacks, how many bodies we have. We're excited about the linebacker core, maybe adding another guy there. We'll see. But, right guard, plus of all the depth you could have, you drafted, Dylanmcmahoneagles. You drafted Keegan from Michigan that didn't give up a sack last year. 3-time starter, national champion, you know what I mean? Mekhi Becton, taking a chance on him was probably one of the biggest signings. I think will be low risk, really, 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 really high reward. Guy's been hurt a lot, but man, like the flash is there. He's a first-round talent. There's no doubt about it, but staying consistent is key. And if Jeff Stoutland thinks he could turn Mekhi Becton not only as a swing tackle, but because Lane Johnson in a couple years, it's going to be interesting what they do here. If Mekhi Becton moves to right tackle for the future, but he's not only going to play the swing tackle, he's going to actually compete at right guard as well. So, so you have Mekhi Becton there that's playing on a high level. That's fantastic. But Tyler Steen has always got a lot of praise from Jeff Stoutland. Like last year, talked about he's like the Brandon Brooks lookalike when it comes to his playing style, and that's awesome. So I think from a standpoint of, beginning of before free agency this past year, we were done. We lost Sewell Petto. We lost Jack Driscoll. Jack Driscoll wasn't great, but, Sewell Petto was a really good swing guard for us because Dylan McMahon could play center in both guard spots. You have Mekhi Becton that can play both tackle spots and is going to compete for right guard. So you actually have some left side depth, which we didn't really have too much left side depth at all. A lot of right guard, center depth. You have the other guy, Matt Hennessy, that could play guard, so right guard and center. He's had 22 starts in his career. He was with Atlanta. So there's a lot of bodies, a lot of bodies, and lots to look forward to at that right guard spot. And if Tyler Steen can beat everybody, that's great. You'll have not only a right guard starter for the rest, for the remainder of the rest of someone's career, whoever it is. But you're potentially going to have, who's going to be that backup right tackle as well for the future when Lane Johnson retires. So I think they're already going to be ready. They're going to cross-train guys nonstop, see what they could do. And, I think this is going to be one of the most exciting offseason programs, preseason, joint practices with the Patriots. I've always been excited for camp, but I think this is the year where, man, there's so many bodies at certain positions, corner, linebacker, somewhat linebacker, for some more guys, see what they could do. And obviously that right guard spot and some of the guys, a couple of the guys that we drafted in Keegan and Dylan McMahon. So there's a whole bunch of guys that we're going to be looking at closely, see what they could do. And, we'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think about the Jalen Hurts news and what do you think Jalen Hurts is going to do this year? What is the plan for Kenny Pickett? Well, I know from you guys in the comment section below. And obviously the right guard spot. Who do you think wins that spot? Does Mekhi Becton have a chance at right guard? Do you think Keegan's going to take that spot in his rookie year? You guys let me know. When it comes to Jeff Stoutland, I have all trust in him and what he does with this offensive line. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Make sure you like the video. This helps the channel out tremendously. And if you have not picked up the Philly Shakedown podcast merch or checked out some of the merch, definitely check out some of the merch. We have the Howie Big Pimpin' shirt that is out right now. We are adding women's t-shirts and the cut tees as well. So we're going to be having all that stuff on there in the next coming days, which is awesome. So check out some of that. The Flying Frenchman, Cooper DeJean shirts, so definitely check that out. Or you want to check out the ladies Philly Shakedown podcast. So we got a whole bunch of new stuff on there as of right now, and definitely check it all out. Link in the description for everything. Appreciate all the support for the Philly Shakedown podcast and for this channel as well. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the news in general. What are you most excited for Eagles training camp? When we get to June 4th to June 6th, that's where things are going to be more exciting. So, all right. Sorry for rambling too much. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.